And it was really an amazing experience because I rented this beautiful little house on a river, half a block from the ocean, and I had a huge porch, and the porch opened onto the jungle, and beyond that, this little river. And so I had huge butterflies, blue morphos flying through all the time. Every time a client would say something significant, a blue morpho or a hummingbird fly through. And one time I had a giant snake come through. One time a client and I were in the middle of a session. Luckily she was a local, so she wasn't terrified when this giant black snake with markings crawled off the roof and onto a tree next door. And we actually called the Jaguar Rescue Center, and they told us that it wasn't dangerous, it wasn't a poisonous snake, and they came out and got it anyway. But they were just 5 minutes down the road. The Jaguar Rescue Center picks up all kinds of everything from jaguars to sloths to wounded animals of all varieties, and they would take care of them and return them to the wild.
Wow.
Yeah, there were a lot of great organizations like that were taking care of the animals and helping to preserve nature. And there were also some wonderful people that were friends of mine, Nancy and Barry Stevens, who have an organization called The Bridge, and they're helping a lot with the Bribri Indians down there, and helping them get into school. They run a food bank. They feed people a couple times a week, and kids there can't go to school unless they have money for uniforms and books. So they would raise a lot of money in the States for uniforms and books. You're really noisy. You might have to go inside. I do a combination of techniques that I've been doing for about 25 years. I put them together as a result of work that I experienced as a client, and then I studied them. I use mainly two techniques: the windows to the sky, which are ancient Chinese acupressure points that work with the emotional body, what we often call the aura, the field of energy around the body that has you creating some of the same patterns over and over again with relationships, work, things like that. Those are the acupressure points, the windows to the sky. And then I also use breath work, which is very effective in terms of bringing universal energy, I'll call it, into the body, and the light energy. And the combination of the two helps people release a lot of trauma and energy that's trapped in the body around particular issues. It's incredibly strengthening. It works a lot with sadness, depression, grief, traumas of all varieties, even artist's block, writer's block, things like that. It helps to strengthen the individual from the core, from the inside out, so that they can really be in the moment and come from their highest self. So it's incredibly empowering. It releases stress at a very deep level. It's very relaxing. Helps people tap into their bliss in a very intense and real way. It's a 3-day retreat, so we spend a lot of time raising frequency, is how I would put it. And 3 days in a row of raising frequency puts you in a higher place and spins off a lot of old issues, so that those issues are no longer happening for you. I get a lot of people who are in transition, people who are leaving marriages, people who are leaving jobs, people who are changing careers, people who whose life circumstances have changed radically, and now they're wondering who they are and where they're going. Also, many people who've been dealing with sadness and depression as a result of experiences in their past. They might not even know what those experiences are, but this process makes it possible to tap into a lot of old repressed memory and clear it out. We release a lot of trauma here. I deal with a lot of people who have sexual abuse, some of whom don't even know they have sexual abuse issues until it comes up on the table. Stress, intense stress, and people who are just searching for a stronger connection with their own spirituality. It's absolutely an alternative healing process. The idea behind metaphysics, and I work a lot with Louise Hay's work, the idea is that all disease starts from the inside out. Now, we all know there are environmental factors these days as well, but there's a big part of disease that happens as a result of internal imbalance, and a lot of that is emotionally based. So we go into what's going on the inside, and usually we have some idea. Usually we hear messages from our higher selves. Oftentimes we ignore them. We like to say that at first the message comes like a feather on your shoulder, and then it graduates and gets stronger and stronger until eventually it might be a 2x4, you know. You might get cancer, you might get some kind of really serious disease as a result of ignoring these internal messages for a long period of time. And overriding our bodies is another thing that a lot of us do. We just power through things and ignore our bodies, ignore the messages that our bodies are telling us. This helps to rebalance the individual, put body, mind, and spirit in more of a balance, so that people are listening to their inner child, they're listening to their higher self, they're listening to their body, they're listening to all the places that they've been ignoring for such a long time. And that can't help but have a positive effect, positive ramifications on their health. I work between the worlds, between the conscious and the unconscious mind, and there's a lot of journeying that goes on into other places and other, sometimes parallel universes. We do a lot of soul retrieval here. It is an intuitive healing process. It is about putting the individual in touch with their own inner healer, their own intuition, which is very strong in all of us, but the way we're raised, especially in Western civilization, is not to honor that part of ourselves. So this is a way of slowing down and starting to listen to that place again, that place where most of our strength and our best answers come from. It's a very powerful process, because this is like the return of the repressed, basically. All the stuff that we've been keeping down, this is when it has a chance to come to the forefront, and we get to see why we do a lot of the things we do. We get to understand ourselves a lot better and act from a much more conscious place as a result of that, instead of running a lot of the same old patterns. The more conscious we can become of what's running around in the unconscious, the better decisions we can make, and the more creative we can be in the present moment. I hear a lot from my own higher self, because I've been doing this work for so long. I'm very much listening to my own higher self, which is what I try to teach my clients. So I think that anyone who's listening to their higher self becomes more and more clairvoyant as time goes on. But I don't see visions so much. I hear answers, and I get clues about what to pay attention to, things like that. And when I'm with a client, I get questions that I should ask. I think many of us that are on the planet at this time are here to help an ailing planet. I think we can all see that the life that we were born into is not a life that's conducive to health on the planet. We're all thinking more and more about sustainability and working with the planet, and instead of against it, not consuming tons of useless things that we don't really need. How can we buy more consciously and build our houses more consciously and just live more in accordance with earth-based wisdom? I just have to call it that. And the work that I do helps people to get in touch with their own inner healer, which necessitates living a more sustainable lifestyle, essentially. So they start to get more guidance about how they can be part of the change that's going on the planet, and how they can help in the change. So yes, there's a lot of work to be done, and many children coming in with varying abilities that are coming here, I believe, to help the planet transition into a more healthy, balanced lifestyle. And the more you get in touch with your higher self, the more you naturally lean towards doing those kinds of things, growing gardens and making your house solar, whatever it is that you feel to do. I think people have lots of different ideas and are very eager to put them into play. there's a huge move in that direction, and I get a lot of those people coming to me because their own socialization is holding them back from the changes that they want to make on the planet. The thing that I love the most about this work is seeing people transition and become happier people and get more in touch with their own internal power and all the ways that they've blocked it. They get to see how they blocked it. They get to move more towards what they really want to be and do, and there's so much energy released in that process, and seeing people find their bliss is very exciting for me. Seeing people start to manifest relationships that make them happier, and work that makes them happier, and getting paid for that work, and transitioning into a life that really suits their soul's needs, that's exciting for me. And for me, it's very, very rewarding to see that God essence in the people that I work with. I feel very privileged to watch people and to be trusted by people with their innermost secrets and to help them transition into a life that makes them feel that they're expressing their inner talents. Because at bottom, I think we're meant to be happy, we're meant to pursue our goals and self-actualization. And this process is about removing the obstacles to that self-actualization and helping people to really tap into their potential. Many people have had a lot of trouble tapping into their potential over their lifetimes, and this removes the obstacles inside of us, because oftentimes it's not even the obstacles in the world that block us as much as the obstacles in ourselves, our ideas about ourselves, the limitations we've taken on. Once we can release those, we can really start to fly. And it's pretty exciting to watch that process happen. The situation that we find ourselves in the world at this time, I always love the Chinese curse, may you be born in interesting times. I quote it a lot. I believe that we're here at this time because it's a very challenging time, that we chose to be here to help the earth through this transition point. And so to me, it's not just, oh my God, disaster. It's like chaos leading to an opportunity for change. And the opportunity for change is very exciting right now. There's a lot of light coming in. There's a lot of help available to us. If we ask for help, we get it. And so it's really important to ask for help, and it's really important to be open to it, and it might come in a form that you don't expect. But my sense from my own life and from the lives of my clients is that if you ask for help, if you do the work on yourself, if you open to opportunities and trust Spirit and strengthen your relationship with Spirit so that you can trust it and operate from that place, then you'll be led to exactly where you're supposed to be, and you'll be doing exactly what it is you're supposed to be doing. The Mayan prophecies, the Hopi prophecies, all that we've been hearing about the earth changes for a long, long time, and the return of the divine feminine, the return of the goddess, are all themes that people have been talking about a lot. And what I believe we're looking at is a rebalancing of the planet away from what we would have to describe as patriarchy, where a certain small group of people have been in charge, and it's been a very difficult situation for most people on the planet. We're moving, I believe, towards a situation that will be much more balanced and equal, and people will get their needs met, and we'll have what we would look at as a more utopian situation now. But it's just a different situation, a different way of organizing goods and services and spreading the abundance of the planet, and probably a lot less meaningless work, hopefully, and a lot more people being able to express their creativity. And I love what Gandhi said, Earth has enough to feed all men's needs, but not all men's greed. So I think we'll have to tone down our massive expectations of how the Earth is supposed to support us and live a little simpler lifestyle, but that we'll all have what we need. And it feels to me that that's the direction that we're moving in, is a rebalancing on the planet. And I think we're all here to midwife that change, and it's actually a really exciting time to be here.